Okay, this one's going to be a short video. On the last one, I made different enemies, but they're all kind of the same. They start in the same place and they go the same speed. So I want to talk a little bit about how we might change the enemy speed. Okay, so let's recast where we are. In our last video, when we got to level 2, I added a whole bunch. And I often do that. I show you what we can do, but it's not necessarily the best for the game that level 2 all of a sudden has 4 more enemies. We might want to be reasonable and say, okay, level 2 will have 2 more enemies, and then level 3 will have another 2 enemies, right? So level design is different than coding. You really got to think about what is a good amount of enemies. So we start with 1 enemy. Level 2 adds 2 more. Level 3 adds 2 more. Maybe that's better, right? And so we might find that's 1, and now there's 3. It's actually quite a bit, and then a lot more in level 3. Now, wouldn't it be cool if the enemies were going at different speeds? You see, like that they're all sort of going at the same speed, and it makes it very monotonous. So I do have an enemy speed. It's right at the top here, and I want to show you something. So that's called enemy speed, and it's equal to 2. Now, if I go, like, let's say here, I say at level 2, I want enemy speed equals 4, right? And level 3, I want enemy speed equals 6. Okay, that'll work. But okay, we will still find they're all going at the same speed. Okay, now why are they all going at the same speed? And you can look and investigate. I was noticing that my level 2 doesn't pause. It should pause. Even if you don't want it for the game, sometimes it's just nice to see it. I can always disable it later, but I do like knowing, okay, I'm at a different level and I want to see that it's different. Okay, so now I have more enemies. Notice they're all going at the same speed. It's kind of monotonous still. Now, why are they all going at the same speed? Well, because enemy speed is declared at the top of my code, right? It's 2. Then later it changes at 4. All the enemies in my list go at this speed. And that's kind of like, if I want all my enemies to go at the same speed and then change all at once, that works. But probably a better design would be for each enemy to keep track of their own speed. So you can have some enemies going fast and some enemies going slow. So if I want to do that, I can delete this. Okay. And now that I've deleted, it's going to show me the places that I need to fix, right? Because if I hit play, it's going to give me an error, and it's going to say at line 110, you have, let's go to 110, you're saying speed. Now notice it's not a this dot because enemy speed was declared at the top of my code. But let's say that each enemy will have its own speed. So this dot speed equals 2. It was 2 to begin, and then we'll call this dot speed. And now I'm gonna keep going. Let's see if are there any other errors? Okay, actually, so it works now, right? So now all I did was tell enemy that it has a speed value. Okay, remember that you have a speed value, and it's by 2 by default. Now what I can do in my check level is I can say, before I add you to the list, I want your speed value. I could say this one is equal to 3, and this one is equal to 7. Okay, so this one's going to be super fast. And we'll find now that the 2 enemies are going at different speeds. Enemy 1, I've got to use the right code. Enemy 1 dot speed. Okay, so let's see if we see that. By level 2, I should have 1 fast one and 1 slow one. Okay, beautiful, right? Okay, so one of them is super fast. Now, you can you can't just force it to be it, or you could use random. Okay, I'm not gonna use randomly, but you could use this, and that way your code could have a little bit. So instead of 7, which is super fast, you could say random between 2 and 5, and let the game and let randomness handle it instead of you doing it. Now I don't know what's better in game design. Is it better to be random, or is it really to think about like what's a good challenge? I think at level, I'm going to make one of the enemies at 4. So you'll see that it's almost barely perceptible, the difference between this one and this one, okay? And so here, I'm going to go again, and I'm going to say this one's going to be a 4, and this one's going to be a 5. And we'll see that what's cool about that is the enemies will not be traveling at the same speed. And I'm hoping that it really looks noticeable. Yeah. Okay, so that's how we add a speed variable. And what's really important was to understand that originally I had a variable up here called enemy speed, and that means it wasn't in the array. Once I put it in the array, once I put it in the class enemy, right here by class enemy, by going this dot speed equals 2, now enemy has its own speed, and since they're in a list and there's 10 of them, or there's an infinite amount of them, then I can change each enemy and they can have their own one. And the way that I do that is by using the variable name, enemy1.speed, and changing it to 4. Okay, or changing it to 5. So now it's giving me a little bit more control. Now I could do that with colors. I could do that with images. So for example, if I wanted to, if I made enemy have an image, then I could go any1.image equals, and so all my enemies have a different image, so they don't all look the same. I could go enemy1 dot size, so they're not all the same size. I could go enemy1 dot hit points, so that they all have different hit points. Okay, but we'll start with speed for now.